Hello. So today we'll be doing grade 11 maths paper 2. Um, Mara as discussed, I'll be going through trigonometry, geometry, fan. So let me go straight to um, the first question. So I'm gonna start with question 5, because that's where trigonometry starts. So let's look at the first question. So, but before we start, um, let's explain why we do trigonometry. So the reason why you do trigonometry, it's either number one is to solve a side using angles, or angles solving like for angles using sides. Yeah, solving for angle using sides. So it's either one of the two. Then there are two types of questions for trigonometric questions. There's the first type of question is a graph type of question. So if they ask you to sketch a trigonometric graph or um, analyze it. Then the second type of question is when they are triangles. So as long as you can draw a diagram, but I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so let's start. Question 5. 5.1, it says in the diagram below, um, the coordinates of t are x and 5 is a point in the Cartesian plane such that OT is equal to 17 units. P is negative 2, 8 lies on OT. K is a point on the positive x-axis, and TOK is equal to theta. So as you can see, this type of question here um, is the second type. It's not a graph, so it's a triangle. So with trigonometric questions now, if like it's a triangle type of question, then you must always have a diagram. Yeah. Like this one here, they drew here a diagram for us. So I'll show you the triangle, what I mean when I say triangle. So do you see here, this is a triangle, do you see? Then this is what I'm talking about, that it's either going to be a triangle or a graph. So this is the triangle in this question. Then the second thing, you look at the triangle. So if it's a triangle type of question, you look at a triangle, then you ask yourself, is it a 90-degree triangle? In this case, yes, it is a 90-degree triangle. So you know you're going to use trigonometric ratios instead of sine rule or cos rule. So if it wasn't 90 degrees, if it wasn't a 90-degree triangle, then you're going to consider sine rule and cos rule. But because it's a 90-degree triangle, you're using trig ratios. Yeah. Then we're starting. So it says determine with aid of the diagram the following, the value of x. So as you can see, the value of x here is the x coordinate of this thing t here. Okay. As we know that this 15 here is on this side of the triangle. So we have 15 this side, right? Yeah, we have 15 this side, and they told us that OT is 17. So we're gonna use Pythagoras to calculate the x value for this thing, right? So what you're gonna say r squared is equals to x squared plus y squared. Then here you substitute your 17 here. Then for x you substitute or x, because that's what you want. Then for y you'll substitute 15 squared. Yeah. Then you solve for x. Then because x, you see x is on the left hand side of this Cartesian plane. So that means that whatever answer you get, the x must be negative because it's this side of the Cartesian plane. So that's how you solve for those types of questions. So you use Pythagoras more, because you have two sides and it's a right angle triangle, so you can use Pythagoras. Then let's go to the memo and show you the answer here. So as you can see, yeah, then they got -8 the answer, because x is, yeah, it's the side. Then we can move on to 5.2. So 5.2 says determine, so yeah, determine the following, which is tan theta. Ne? So like we said, we have this line here, right? Line, we know a can negative, this one is -8 because we calculated it. This is 15 and this is 17. Ne? Then this here is theta here inside of this triangle. So the theta will always be inside of this triangle. Why? Because the theta is it's a acute angle, ne? Not an obtuse angle. So this angle here is an obtuse angle. This theta cannot be an obtuse angle. So the theta will represent it inside of this triangle. So now that they want tan theta, what is tan theta? Tan theta is equals to so tan theta is equals to, what do you call this, opposite over adjacent, right? Which is y over x. So that's why they got the 15 over -8. So give 15 over -8, which is opposite over adjacent. That's how they got this 10 here, 15 over -8. Ne? Then we continue. 1.5, 5.1.3. So cos 180 minus theta. So what is this cos 180 minus theta? This cos 180 minus theta, do you agree that it is the same as where is cos 180 minus theta? Cos 180 minus theta is supposed to be in the second quadrant, right? So that is negative, right? So the first thing you do, when I change this to negative cos theta, so this is the same as negative cos theta. Then what is cos theta? Cos theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's -8 over 17. Then yeah, that's your answer basically. So 8 over 17. Yeah. Then the next one says so 5.1.4 sine squared theta. So sine squared, we know that it's opposite over hypotenuse, right? So opposite of theta is 15, hypotenuse is 17, that squared. Then put it in the calculator, then you'll get your answer for this one. Then 1.5.5, it says calculate the value of A. So A lies on OT. Ne? So A is a point on OT. Do you see this line here, OT? So we can do it this way. Ne? Do you see this P here? This P, this point here, could be the same as this point here. Let me show you what I mean. So let me draw it, right? Let me draw it. So I'm just gonna draw this triangle, and I'm not gonna draw the Cartesian plane. So I'm just gonna redraw this triangle here. Just wanna show you something. So redraw it here. So here it's T, right? Here it's T. Then here it's P. Here it's P. Then here, like we said, is theta. Then here it's 90 degree, then here it's 15, then here it's -8. So it says calculate the value of A, right? And A is the y coordinate of P. So I'm gonna show you that like there are actually two triangles here. Do you see from P, you can redraw a line here from this point going down, making it a 90-degree triangle. So you're basically making a 90-degree triangle here. Do you see? Then they're telling us that this P is -2. So which means this length here is gonna be -2 here, right? This length here. This length here is gonna be -2 here, right? It's gonna be -2. Then do you agree that if we say 10 theta, I'm talking about the small triangle now. So if we say 10 theta is gonna be equals to, I get that this is A, this part here, we don't know it's A, this length here. So 10 theta will be equal to A, right? Which is opposite over adjacent, which is -2. That's 10 theta. But don't forget, we also calculated 10 theta here. And because we are using the same theta, this 10 theta and this 10 theta must be the same. So you're gonna equate this with the 10 theta that you got here. So the 10 theta you got here was 15/8. So you are just gonna say 8 in A, I mean A over -2 is equals to 15/8. Yeah. Then from there on, normal, I mean algebra to calculate 8. So you'll multiply on both sides by -2. Then you'll get your answer for A. So A is it's a level 4 type of question. So they won't expect like most learners to get it right anyway. So in a test, if you meet a question like this and just skip it. Yeah, skip it once. Anyway, okay, let's move on. So 5.2, it says simplify without using a calculator. So this type of question, so like I said, go trigonometry, it's either we have graphs or triangles, right? So for graphs, we've done like question A1, a triangle. Then this is special angles one. So A for special angles reduction formula. This one. This is special angles and reduction formula. So that's all you're gonna look at here. So this one you're gonna see so sine 120, okay, it's in the second quadrant. So you're gonna say it's the same as sine 180 degrees minus 60. Then yeah, go on cos 180 plus 30, just like that, until with the reduction what. So like here. Yeah, like here. So do you see here they went from sine 120 to sine 60? So it's basically saying sine 180 minus 60. Sine 120 is the same as saying sine 180 minus 60. And sine 180 minus 60 is in the second quadrant. The second quadrant, the sign is positive, so that's why it remained positive. Cos 210 is the same as saying cos 180 plus 30. And cos 180 plus 30 is in the third quadrant. Cos is negative in the third quadrant. That's why the answer after they reduce this thing is negative cos 30. Then with 10 315 they said 10 315 is the same as 10 360 minus 45. And 10 360 minus 45 is in the fourth quadrant. 10 is negative in the fourth quadrant. That's why the answer was negative 1045. So this one is just reduction formula and I mean cofunctions. Then yeah, then here it's cos 27. So cos 27 is the same as cos 90 minus 63. Then cos 90 minus 63, because it's 90 degrees, it's a cofunction, so you have to change it from cos to sine, or from sine to cos if it's 90. So because it's cos, you're going to change it from cos to sine. That's why it became sine 63. Then this cos 554, because 554 is greater than 360, the first thing you're going to do is subtract 360 from 554. Then after subtracting, okay, um 360, you get that 180, so you can leave it as cos 180. Then sine 63, you have sine 63 here, so you can leave it alone so that like they cancel each other out. Then we go into the next step after that. So sine 63 will cancel out sine 63. Then here is just special angles here. From here, you have to know your special angles, what 60 means, 30, 45, and 180 for cos, sine, and tan. So that's this type of question. This one you must get like it like right. It's in almost like all type of, it's in almost all like question papers. So it's a trigonometry. In like not almost all, it is in all. So this one you must make sure. Then 5.3, prove the identity. So even here it's the same thing. It's not something that I can really give you a technique like you just have to like yeah, this one is practice and even this one. So these two are just like really practice. However, for 5.3, an advice I can give you for this one, if ever they give you like, do you see they are giving you two terms here, most especially if like these fractions. The first the first step most probably would be getting the LCM of this thing. Then you'll have a way forward from there. So let's look at what they did here. Yeah, like you see, they calculated a common denominator. Then from there on, you can continue and try to equate this thing to this. Then 5.4, the general solution of this. So for calculating the general solution, all we have to do, obviously, we're going to change this 10 to sine x over cos x, cancel out the so like they did here on one. I want to split it out, then multiply it out like this, right? So what I'm trying to say is that for 5.2, 3, and 4, here there are no like techniques that I can teach you, or like okay approach a question. It's just like practice more practice more. These three type of questions are just practice. So make sure before the test, at least these three, you know them perfect, because they will be there in the test, these ones. Then before I go to graphs, let me go to the last type of question here at Trig, then eddy triangle, then I'll go to graphs. So let's go to question 7. So like I said, with trigonometry, it's either going to ask you obviously those core functions, or um, determine the general solution, or yeah, that other one, yeah, prove the identity. Or it's either you're gonna have to use a diagram, but most probably you're gonna have to use a diagram like here. So with this type of question, it's a triangles type of question. So they are giving us a triangle as a diagram. So let's look at the question. It says in the diagram, P is 67 degrees, PQ is 3 centimeters, and PR is 9.2 centimeters. Determine the length of QR. So with this one, like I said, we firstly ask ourselves, what type of triangle do we have? Do we have a maybe it's a right angle triangle or not. So here we don't have a right angle triangle, so we can't use trig ratios here. Ne? Therefore, we should use sine rule or cos rule. So how do we determine what rule to use, sine rule or cos rule? So we firstly determine whether we should use the sine rule. Ne? That's what's gonna guide us. So how do we determine whether we use the sine rule? We have to have a corresponding side and a corresponding angle. So do you see here we have angle P, but we don't have side P? Then here we have side R, but we don't have angle R, and we have side Q, but we don't have angle Q. So with these type of questions, ne, if it's not a right angle triangle, ne, then the first thing you do is label your triangle. So this will be small p, small r this side, and small q. So as you can see, q and q, you don't know the corresponding angle. You only know the side. Then you don't know the corresponding angle of r. Here you don't know the corresponding side. That's what I mean. If you had a corresponding side and angle, maybe let's say you had 3 centimeters here, and they also gave us maybe they also gave us an angle here, then you could use sine rule because you have a corresponding side or angle. But here you don't have a corresponding side or angle, so because of that, you go straight to cos rule here. Yeah, this is cos rule. So you can just put it in the cos rule. Yeah, this is cos rule, as you can see here. Yeah, then going to the next one. So they will just use cos rule here. So it's a matter of formulas in J here. Then go to the next one. So 7.2, it says in the diagram below, DCB is equals to alpha, then AC is equals to H, and ACB is equals to theta. Then the first question is 7.2.1. It says determine the size of ACD in terms of theta and alpha. So ACD is this angle here. So the size of this angle is theta minus alpha. Why? Because this whole angle is theta and this one is alpha. So this small one will be theta minus alpha. Yeah, like they got the theta minus alpha. So here it's theta minus alpha. This thing here, let's just indicate it here. So here it's theta minus alpha. That's that angle there. I'll just write it like this is alpha. So it's theta minus alpha. Then it says prove that AD, which is this side here, is equals to that. Ne? So how do we prove that AD is equals to that? Firstly, let's look at the triangle where AD is, right? So the triangle where AD is, what information do we have? We have this angle here, which is theta minus alpha. Then we also have H. Do we have anything else? No, we don't have anything else here. We are not even given that it's 90 degrees. So we can't use cos rule or a sine rule because we only have one side and one angle. At least we have to find another thing in this triangle. So we have to get more information in this triangle here. So what can we do? Do you see that we can calculate the angle of this one here, A, this angle here? Because essentially this angle here is equal to 180 degrees, right? Minus 90 degrees, which is minus this angle here, then minus what? Theta, because theta is the entire angle here. Then, so what is A equals to? So this angle A, this angle A, so this angle A, which means is equals to 90 degrees. Okay, minus theta. So that's this angle here. This angle here is equals to 90 degrees minus theta, right? Now we have two angles and a side. Do you see? But do you see still we don't have like a corresponding side and angle? However, we can calculate this angle too because we have two angles. So ke gape le rule, this is gape like another rule. If you can calculate two angles in a triangle, then you have to calculate the third one. That one is a must, yo. So just like learn to do that like every time. So as you can see, we have two angles in this triangle. So let's calculate D1 and see what D1 is. So D1 is equals to 180 degrees minus this whole thing. So right, then minus what? That whole thing, no, 90 degrees minus theta. So what's D1? This is going to be positive. This is going to be negative. This is going to be negative 90. So negative 90 plus 180 is going to be 90. So then theta is going to be negative theta plus theta. So the theta is going to cancel out. Then plus alpha. So D1 is equals to 90 degrees plus alpha. That's D1. So that's the size of D1 here, right? Then from here we have three angles now in this triangle and a side. Ne? So do you see that we have a side and a corresponding angle? So this D1, ne? Like I told you, because we are using like sine rule, not cos rule, so we can label this triangle. So this is a small a, this side. This side is small d, and this side is small c. As you can see, we know this angle at D1 now. We also know this D. So we know a side and a corresponding angle. And we also have angles that are another side. So we can use sine rule. So we start by taking this one that we know, Vele. That's how you do sine rule. So you're gonna say D over sine D, right? Then what do you want? You want AD, right? AD is C. So C over sine, right? C. Then D, we know that D is equals to H. Then sine D on A is 90 plus alpha. Then C is AD, right? So you can write AD here since that's what you want. Then sine C, so this is C here. Sine C, yeah, this is C, right? So sine C is equals to, so it's sine theta minus alpha. Then when you continue with this, you'll get this answer here. Just have to multiply this thing to the other side. Then this sine 90 plus alpha is the same as cos alpha then, because this is a cofunction. So this will change into cos alpha. This you multiply this side, then it will give you the answer. Like they have here. Yeah. So that's how you do that type of question. Then let me just remove this thing here. Okay. Then 7.2.3 says determine the length of a div. So here it's just substituting in that thing that you have and calculate the area of this here using the area formula here. So it's just substitution more than here the area formula more. So that's basically trigonometry. Ne? So trigonometry, you're gonna get those. So the questions you're gonna get is those co-functions and special angles and identities. Then after you also get what do you call this? You also get these type of questions where they ask you like triangles. So let's go to the last type of trigonometric questions, which are trigonometric graphs. So they can either ask you to draw a graph or analyze a graph. In this type of question, they were asking us to analyze the graph. So let's do question 6. So the graph of functions f of x is equals to a cos b theta is equals to gx again, and gx is equals to c tan theta. For that, as sketched below, the graphs intersect at p and q. Okay, then write down the range of f. So do you know? Okay, firstly, the range of a function. So the range of the function, basically it looks at like all y values that it can, basically this graph can, so it's looking at the from the y-axis side. So what values of y can this graph like touch? So as you can see, f, it can go as far as 3 and as low as -3. So the range of f is -3 to 3. That's the range of f. So basically range are all the y values that this graph can touch. So it's from -3 to, it's from -3 to 3. Then it says if m lies on G, determine the value of C. So he said if m lies on G, so determine the value of C. So this value for 10. So what you're gonna do is just substitute this thing into this formula and calculate C. So you're gonna substitute this one here go G since it's a Y. Then this one we substitute here go theta. Then you calculate your C. So 10C, I mean, yeah. You get your 10C there. Then no C1. Then you said write down the values of A and B. So the values of A and B is a cos. That's for the cos graph. So for the graph, you have to know like all mother graphs for these graphs. So mother graph, yeah, sine. I don't know whether it's a mother graph or it's a general graph or whatever. You have to know that that graph here. Um, cos theta is equals to, or sine theta is equals to, tan theta is equals to that first graph. You have to know how it looks, ne? So that you know how one graph is, by how much did it change. Do you see this graph? Ne? We are used to a normal cos graph if I equal 1, right? We're used to it going here, go 1. So that means that this graph, they multiplied it 3 times. So this A here, it's 3, like they got it here. Because why they multiplied 3 times or if claim like this graph here, they multiplied it 3 times so that it arrives here. Then all you do, you say cos 90 here, let me calculating ya gago. As you can see, it still gives us 0 here. So which means for this B, nothing really changed here for this B. So this B remains 1. It doesn't matter because cos 90 normally is 0. Then even now, cos 90 is 0. So which means there's no change to the there's only change to the size, I mean amplitude of the graph. So the graph is more, it's bigger. Or one, because a normal sign will be maybe it will be the same way, but it won't go deep as much. Then this one, this thing, this B only controls this part of the graph. So whether this graph goes like this or maybe like this, or one, or like this. So it controls the number of loops you have, this BA. As you can see, they are the same for both, so which means BA will remain 1. This B here will remain 1. But the easiest way to check whether this B is 1 or whatever is to check here. Like I said, you have to know your mother graphs. Normally, you look here, what will happen to the normal graph of, if let's say this point here was 45, here, then you know that B was equal to 2. Why? Because they said 2 times 45, which gave you 90. Then cos 90 is 0, because cos 45 is not 0. So if maybe this was 45 and this graph value touched 0, then that means that this B changed or 1. But as you can see, it's still 90 like the mother graph. So which means B is 1. It's gonna remain 1 here, like it did. Then the coordinate, determine the coordinate of Q. So the coordinate of Q, as you can see, it's a point of intersection between tan and cos. So you can equate these graphs and then calculate the value of theta. So equate them, calculate the value of theta. Yeah. Then here, 6.5, K lies on F such that Km is parallel to the y-axis. Calculate the length of Km. So they said, so basically this is Km, and they want the length of Km. So they want the length of Km, since this Km is parallel to that. So there's many ways you can calculate this thing here. Yeah, there are many ways for you to calculate this thing here. As you can see, this value here for this one, for K, we know it because they told us that, as you can see here, this is 45, 45. It makes sense. Why? Because they said this thing is parallel to the y-axis. That means that if it's parallel, this is a straight line. And if it's a straight line, that means that the x-coordinate of this will be the same as the x-coordinate for this. Do you see? So you know that the x-coordinate of M is negative 45. So the x-coordinate of K will also be negative 45 because it's still here on the negative 45. Then the y-coordinate of M is negative 1, like they showed us here. Then the y-coordinate of K is negative 2, like they showed us here. Then you can calculate this length here by using the distance formula. You can use the distance formula here. Then it says, if the system of x is shifted 45 degrees to the left and the graph remained fixed, right there, the equation that is represented by F. So a shift to the left is a positive shift, like so like good function in normal, you're gonna add 45. Let's see, why did they minus 45? So shift to the left. Okay, I a on it since it gets it. I'll have to research this one. Get offer answer after. I'm not sure guys, this negative 45 here. Okay, So, but that's basically trigonometry. Ne? So that's how you approach trig, ne? Trig questions. Then yeah, that's three questions. Then for geometric questions, I'll do it in the next video.